and welcome to Commodity Insights Live by S&P Global. My name is Pritish Raj, and I'm the head of Asia Pacific and European thermal coal pricing at S&P Global Commodity Insights. And today, we have a very important topic to discuss at hand that deals with coal, a bit of energy transition, and solar-based power. With talks of energy transition gaining pace in the global dialogues and coal mines getting redundant globally, a question often comes up about what happens to these mines or how that area can be utilized in the best possible way to maximize the land and the resource potential. And that's exactly what we are going to discuss today, but more in the Indian context. And the topic goes by Transforming Abandoned Coal Mines, a New Era of Solar Power in India. Much like coal mines that need to be spoiled by a large mass of land for operational purposes, the solar industry demands the same. And what can be a better solution to utilize the shut coal mines to build solar capacity? However, the idea is not free of challenges. Let's first dive into the opportunities followed by the possible obstacles. First, of course, it will likely mend some of the environmental hazards caused not just by the coal mines, but also hazards that continue once the mine is shut, and in most cases abandoned, as there are huge costs involved in restoring that land area to its prior conditions. Moreover, developing solar photovoltaics is usually met with the challenge of the land use shortage, which can be solved by using the closed mines. To some extent, the huge costs involved in integrating large volumes of solar into electricity grids can be trimmed as the majority of the coal mines would be closer to the existing grid infrastructure, including substations and transmission lines. Job creation is another positive outcome from these conversions in the field of distribution and trade, manufacturing and construction, primarily benefiting the cities and communities located close to those transition sites. Faster clean energy transition, with some estimates putting the number to around 300 gigawatt of solar capacity on abandoned mines globally by 2030 and nearly 30 gigawatts in India, making solar the fastest growing power generating source within the renewable space. Coming to the challenges, there is a lack of assessment studies on the land suitability of solar PV in coal mining subsidence regions, as traditional surveying methods are time consuming and labor intensive. Secondly, getting permits for mine closure, land restoration, and solar projects is a complex process with many legal and administrative hurdles, and in most cases, policy side support is not optimal. Moreover, there is a high initial costs involved in converting uneven or contaminated land to solar use, which is also technically challenging. In the Indian context, as one of the fastest growing economies in the world, India's share in the global primary energy consumption is projected to double by 2035, and solar has a big role to play in that. Already the second largest in terms of total installed power capacity at 110 gigawatt, which is half of the total capacity India has currently. To be more specific, solar capacity in India has increased more than 39 times from 2014 to 2025, including a record 23 gigawatt added last fiscal year. That makes India a very important global player as well, as the export of solar modules to other markets, particularly the US, has started to gain traction, with many countries looking at India as a strong, viable option after China, which is the world's largest solar PV exporter. Realizing this potential, Platts on July 1 commenced daily price assessments for Indian solar modules on an FOB basis. The price assessments would reflect modules of 520 to 680 watt output for PERC specification and 570 to 720 watt output for TOPCon specification, with different wafer sizes applicable for contract volumes between 5 to 50 megawatt. This will complement our other spot market solar panel price assessments for the US, Europe, and China markets. Watch out for weekly commentaries, expert insights, and development of pricing mechanisms in the solar space. Coming back to India's potential in transforming shut coal mines for solar manufacturing capacities, the government has identified over 300 discontinued coal mines and has been engaging in key components like environmental rehabilitation through afforestation, water management by ensuring proper drainage systems, waste management, and land reclamation. While several talks have been happening in India that after the mine closure, the land has to be put to alternate use, it hasn't really been looked at from converting them into a solar capacity lens. At best, Talks surround developing agricultural fields, eco parks, fruit bearing, and vegetable crops for the benefit of the surrounding community. The latest is steps initiated by India to reopen closed mines, recognizing their latent potential under a revenue sharing model. It aims to optimize utilization of the nation's coal resources while ensuring that safety and profitability are maintained. This will enhance domestic coal availability and efficient utilization of existing coal resources. A total of 34 abandoned mines under revenue sharing model have been offered, out of which 24 have been rewarded. But that's not the end of it. A global energy monitor estimate identified over 63 unused mine sites across India, covering more than 500 square kilometers, which could generate 27 gigawatts of solar power, approximately 25% of the current solar capacity. Platts has known that several solar panel manufacturing companies in India are doing their feasibility studies to convert closed mines into solar parks, and in many cases, the unused mines belong to the same companies that also have their own solar division under the renewables umbrella. The government, on certain occasions, mentioned that if not properly addressed, abandoned coal mines present significant environmental and safety risk. One of the primary issue is the release of methane, a powerful greenhouse gas that has a warming capability far surpassing that of the carbon dioxide. In the absence of effective management, these locations could greatly aggravate climate change. In conclusion, the transition from coal to solar is not merely a concept. It is grounded in reality. The most significant coal producing areas globally possess substantial opportunities for solar projects on previously disturbed terrains, particularly in regions where grid infrastructure is already established, where there is a readily available skilled workforce, and where land restoration is critically needed. However, this shift will necessitate the establishment of policy frameworks that emphasize renewable energy development on mining sites, investment plans that acknowledge the importance of combining reclamation with clean energy initiatives, and community involvement that prioritizes local employment and voices. With the appropriate decisions, the same lands that fueled the industrial era can now contribute the climate solutions we urgently require. That will be all from my side. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.